Finally, the truth about the plank. Is it a good exercise? What is the good position? Can I do it every day? What about the 100 days plank challenge? Why does it hurt your back? How long can you train it? How to make it easier or how to make it harder or more interesting? Why doing the plank is so important in your core training. And finally, I'm going to give you a few bonus tips that I use with my clients, and also I will show you 20 very interesting versions of the plank. These are all the questions I'm going to answer through this video. And fasten your seatbelts because this trip will be full of turbulences. But first of all, in my opinion, depending on how you do it, the plank is a very interesting exercise. If you do it the good way, it's going to target your core, your shoulders, your scapula, your glutes, your quads, your hamstrings, and much more. That makes it a very complex exercise. And by complex, I mean that it involves a lot of different muscles. We know that the more it involves different muscles, the faster and the better will be your gains. So, no doubt it's a good exercise. This is a very important topic and it's going to make the difference between a good exercise and a bad exercise. Start to take the position on the mat. First you go with your forearms on the floor, with your knee to take the position. Your forearms are spread as your shoulder width and the hands will be in the same alignment with your elbow. You don't want to interlace your fingers to make it this way. That's make the exercise easier. We want to do the Pilates version of the plank, which is a bit harder and more interesting for your core and shoulder blades. So you go here, aligned, and then you put your feet away from the mat. You will understand why in a few seconds. And you just hold the position. That's the positioning. Now you have to understand a few things. If your hips are a bit too low, like this, by example, you don't have any control on your abs and you don't have any control on your hips. Therefore, you will have lower back pain. That's one of the biggest reasons. So how to fix that? You need to raise it high enough in order to have some control. So from here, you put it here and you keep it strong. That's very important. And also, if your hips tilt, you need to tilt back in order to have some same control on your lower back. You want at all time to have your hips aligned with your back. That's very important to make it safe and to keep the work on your belly and not to kill your lower back. Then what happens if you raise your hips a bit too high? Like this. Then you're gonna feel like your shoulders are doing all the work and nothing goes to your abs. And big chance that you're gonna slide with your feet, like this. Okay? So, that's why we don't put the feet on the mat. If you are sliding, it's not because the floor is slippery, like some of my clients are telling me. No, it means that you're doing it wrong. Because look, the floor is slippery. I do the plank, I'm not sliding. Then I slide, I don't slide. I slide, I don't. Why is that? It's because with your arms, you are pushing backward. Then of course your body is sliding. But if instead you are just taking the vertical pressure from the gravity, you will not slide. You will just stay static. So a slippery floor is actually good. It's a good indication if you do the exercise in the good way. So that's how we are doing the plank. If you are performing, by example, a hard version on one arm, by example, or one arm, one leg, this kind of stuff, or with extra weight, then it's going to be super hard for your shoulders. Also, if your shoulders are not very strong, then altogether you shouldn't train it every day. Your shoulders need at least one recovery day. Otherwise, they're going to stress out more and more every day and lead to the injury. If you are following a balanced training plan, then yes, you can train it every day, like by example ab starter or abs of steel, because they are balanced and they are not pushing on the plank every day. Sometimes they are working on crunches or plank or spine muscles, and it goes so you're never pushing too much on one group of muscles. But still, it trains your abs every day and helps you to create a discipline of regular basis training. Still, there are no plank every day. For all of the reasons I mentioned before, I will definitely not recommend you to follow any of the 100-day challenges, especially with the planks or push-ups. For most of the people that I know and did it before to train with me or with my app or whatever, they had terrible results. Why? Because they were always training the same group of muscle, which gave them a bad posture, like this, by example. And also they didn't improve their time because their muscles were so tensed that they didn't progress in strength. They were just in pain with a frozen shoulder or with some other injuries. In the most common injuries, we had the sciatic pain, the lower back pain, or the frozen shoulder, like I said. So, I will ask you, please don't do the 100 days challenge. The plank is definitely not an exercise you can train every day for a long period. And to be honest, not so many exercises can really fit the job of training every day. If you feel lower back pain, it could be for three main reasons. The two first reasons being too much tension in your glutes or too much tension in your lats. In these specific cases, you need a Thai massage or a trigger point therapy. But the most common reason would be the positioning of your hips. Your hips tilt is very important. If the top of the hips is tilting to the front, movement that we call nutation, then all the pressure from the exercise, from the plank, will go not in your belly, but in your lower back. It is very important to align as much as possible the lower back and the hips this way. It will help to position your belly inside and not outside, and therefore to contract it in a better way. Therefore, it's easier for you to focus on your abs. Fixing those three factors, like the tension of your lats, the tension of your glutes, and the tilt of your hips, will fix your lower back pain during the plank. The world record for a woman is about 4 hours, and for a man it's about 8 hours. But I don't think that we should necessarily go over there. In many of my workouts, I often go for 1 minute. Then the difference goes into the recovery. It's going to be shorter for the people that has more endurance and more strength, and longer for beginners. Then from time to time, I ask people to do one maximum duration for the plank, and then we record it into the tracking section of K-Fit. It really motivates them to push a bit harder and to beat their own records in order to progress every time a bit. You can do the same with a piece of paper or a notepad if you don't have access to K-Fit. This is an easy question. You just go on your knees and be sure to align your knees, hips and shoulder. You don't leave your hips to the back. Be sure to do it this way and not this way. A second possibility is to raise the level of your hands by using a platform. The higher the platform is, the easier it is because it moves part of your weight to your feet. And about the knee versions, simply it makes the lever shorter. Instead of having a lever from your feet to your shoulders, you have a lever from your knees to your shoulder. So the lower back and the abs will have less pressure. Altogether, it makes the exercise easier. To make the plank harder, you have multiple options. Elevate your feet to bring more weight to the front. Remove one of your support from the floor. It can be one arm, one leg, or even one arm and one leg off the floor. You can also increase the distance between your feet and your forearms. The lever on your abs will be harder. And finally, you can use unstable supports for your hands or for your feet. There are plenty of alternatives such as the Bosu, the Swiss ball, the medicine ball or the T-Rex. By working with unstable support, your plank will be way more interesting. Why? Simply because it's going to use way more muscles in order to work on your stabilization. It can really easily double the muscles engaged. If you watched my previous video, The Truth About Abs, then you probably already have the answer. The first function of your core is to protect your spine integrity. That is why we do static exercises, aka isometric exercises. If you want more details about this, just have a look to this video. One of the biggest reasons why people have almost no results from this exercise or receive any back pain or shoulder pain is because they believe that just doing the exercise is enough. Just taking the position will do wonders. Well, it's not, trust me. What really is the plank? The plank is just linking like a bridge two different parts of your body. By example, you have the feet touching the floor and the hands touching the floor. Those two will be your supports, your only supports. To be able to connect them and create a bridge is what will make you successful to work on your abs. Don't focus only on your upper body. Focus also on carrying your lower body with your hips and glutes and also hamstrings. When you connect both sides of the bridge and you push toward each other, then you have a strong bridge. Otherwise, it goes down and you can see that the plank is curving. That's where you have pain. In order to really have good abs, good core functioning, you need to focus on your belly. Just don't do the exercise without focus. Try to absorb your belly as much inside as possible. Okay, raise yourself, get your belly inside. And then try to focus on getting here very strong, like a belt that protects your back. Without this, you're not working your core. The more you focus on it, the more you're going to feel them working and the faster they're going to transform into abs of steel. That's my best recommendation for most of the people starting to train with me. Now let's go to the fun part, the plank variations. And before that, don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more content like this one. Let's go!